This is Lee Barracks at West Point, so it was my son's dorm. I think this was his room up here. I think it was that one, or maybe that one. They move every semester, so I'm never sure where they are.
Sure.
But this is anybody who's been there knows this dorm, and this provided its own unique design challenges. I wanted to have this modeled appearance of the granite that is up there at West Point, and the important thing here is this wall that surrounds it. It looks, from this distance, you can see it looks fort-ish, like there's a protection wall. And this is a really, I mean, you got to keep the scale here in perspective. That's a floor. That's, you know, so this is 7 or 8 stories tall. This wall was a real nightmare to build because when you put all those little plates together, they curl. And it doesn't matter how strong you make the base, eventually they will pull off the base.
Yep.
So I came up with this idea to create these expansion joints in the wall with separate plates. So it's like any bridge builder will show you that, that's what we use to keep the bridges from buckling in the winter and the summer. But there's a plate underneath there that is 2 studs wide, which sits on a brick. So these all sit, they float individually, so there's none of that long-term stress across them. And I thought that was really brilliant, and then I went to Brick World last summer and I saw a guy who did Frank Lloyd Wright House and a wall in exactly the same design. So it's certainly not something I was the only one to invent.
Those plate wall builders out there, maybe they just kind of like fall into the same technique almost.
Well, I think so. I think if you're going to build this long wall, this is like 60 studs long, and if you build that, you will see it'll pull up several plates on each side, and it doesn't matter how hard you push, it won't go down. Yep. It will not go down and stick. So there's, it got a little tight at the top because of that pull, but I tried to make these support towers float freely and just connect them at the top, but still there's a lot of stress there. If I would try to pull the top off, I wouldn't be able to get it, even though it just sits loosely in there, I couldn't get it off without taking the corners apart and wedging them in there and hammering them real hard.
Now you mentioned L-draw for the last building. Did you use a similar technique for this one?
Yeah, I used L-draw for all 3 of these because it just gives me the opportunity to build it and figure out how many pieces I need. I don't sit on a gigantic pile of loose brick that I build with.
Sure.
So I find it easier to do it in L-draw and then
place that bricklink order.
Yeah, and then I always built a prototype. So that's when I learned about the wall issue, that I had to do it with something else. So I have these large. These are 16 by 16 plates with brick in between, and that gives me a nice solid foundation. But still, you have to do something with that wall, lest the whole thing will curl.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for sharing these builds with us. Very, very beautiful.
Thank you very much.